The Pack start their season at home for the first time in the Coach LaFleur era, and we'll be taking the field with our latest addition, one of the top defensive players in all of football. Excited to talk about it with all of you next on this 15th season of your Packers Fan Podcast.
Greetings, fellow cheeseheads, and welcome to the first official episode of the 2025-2026 season of Packers football and the Packers Fan Podcast. I'm Scott Clark from the Gaming Outsider Podcast, but it's good to be back on the mic for the green and gold. It's been an interesting offseason, and I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
Absolutely. And hearing your voice come through my headphones is very sweet indeed. Scott, welcome back. And me, podcasting for 20 years. Yes, 20 years. I'm Wayne Henderson. Glad to be with you again. We are ready to rock in 3, 2, 1. And coincidentally enough, it's episode 321 of your Packers Fan Podcast. And on this edition of the show, it's finally time to talk about a regular season football game. Scott and I are going to preview the Week 1 Lions at Packers matchup. That's right, at Packers. We're finally starting the season at home, Scott.
Absolutely. It feels good. We've also got some help from the PFP listeners to help kick off the Packers season. We're going to be sharing that with you in just a little bit. Also, a ton of amazing offseason news for the green and gold, like I mentioned above. And speaking of, Wayne, what do you got, man?
Well, so much has happened since we last talked, including Green Bay Packers great Sterling Sharpe being inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame about a month ago. Scott, do you have any particular memories of the great Sterling when he was in the green and gold?
I mean, how can you not think of Packers football in the 90s without Sterling Sharpe? I mean, that was my childhood. It was so great, but he was, just look up some information. In 92, he achieved the Triple Crown for a receiver, which means he was the top in the NFL that season for receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. So 108 receptions, 1,461 receiving yards, and 13 touchdown receptions, all in one season. What an incredible player, very much deserving. Unfortunately, his career only lasted 7 years because of a neck injury he sustained in 1994. But prior to that, he was a 5-time Pro Bowler. And like I said, he was just synonymous with Favre. They were just such a connection, and it was so much fun to watch on TV back in the mid to early to mid 90s.
Way back in the day, as the kids say. Yeah, I just remember Sterling and Favre just being absolutely dominant together. And it's hard to not think about the what could have beens, but 7 years of excellence in the green and gold definitely deserves to be in the NFL Hall of Fame. And so I'm very happy that he's finally there. And we have yet another Green Bay Packer in the Hall.
Absolutely. The other big news in the offseason, my phone was blowing up. Just blowing up between the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community, between my Packers Fan text group that I've got, Wayne sending me messages. My Bears fans friends are like, what is going on? This isn't fair. It was just a crazy, crazy day. But yes, Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys is now officially a Green Bay Packer. Just if you're not familiar with this guy, if you haven't read or seen anything on ESPN in a couple days, Parsons was selected in the first round of the 2021 draft. He was a 12th pick overall by the Cowboys. He had now that he's with Green Bay, he's done a 4-year, $188 million contract, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. It's going to be a massive addition to our defensive front. Very excited about the possibilities that are going to happen here. I do want to mention, though, just because one of my buddies that texted me, who's not a Packers fan, said that he was worried about Micah Parsons' attitude not jiving with Green Bay. I don't know how that's going to fly. However, I want to read to you a tweet that he posted after the trade or right before the trade, because he actually requested to be released from Dallas and posted this on Twitter. And I quote, "Yes, I wanted to be here. I did everything I could to show that I wanted to be a Cowboy and wear the star on my helmet. I wanted to play in front of the best fans in sports and make this America's team once again. The team my pops and I grew up cheering for way up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, I no longer want to be here. I no longer want to be held to closed-door negotiations without my agent present. I no longer want shots taken at me for getting injured while laying it on the line for the organization, our fans, and my teammates. I no longer want narratives created and spread to the media about me." Unquote. Now, that's a pretty bold statement to make on social media about your now former team.
Right.
So what do you think about that? How do you think, I mean, if this stuff that he's saying happened to him is true, then I wouldn't want to be there either. Right. I don't know. We're not there to see how much of this is actually happening, but that's some pretty scathing stuff talking about Dallas. Do you think there's going to be any issue with him jiving with Green Bay?
I don't think there will be any issue with him in Green Bay. It's such a totally different system as far as management. And, Dallas, they've done some things in the past, but as long as Jerry Jones has been there, that dude's got his hands in too many pies. And I think that's probably what's behind this. It's
going to be an interesting football team in Dallas when that inevitably stops happening. Yeah. I really am kind of intrigued to see what Dallas is going to look like then. But, I'm glad you're and not surprised that you're optimistic, Wayne. But
not me.
You're right. The Green Bay has a reputation for being a positive place with players that like to be there, and not that everything's perfect and green and gold roses, but I remember back like in the Aaron Rodgers and Clay Matthews days when there was camaraderie on the field and goofing around, and I feel like Green Bay's a little bit more business now than back in those days, but they're also pretty young, they're still in the growing phases a bit, and I just hope that with Parsons, still being relatively young, he was drafted in 21, so I just hope he jives with the team. I always worry about that kind of friction, especially with it being so close to week 1. I mean, this just happened this past week, right?
That's amazing.
And now he's got a squad. I mean, it's cool. How quickly is he going to click with the defense, and how, he knows he's the best defensive player in the NFL right now. Is he going to be trying to call the shots, or is he going to follow the coach? You know what I mean? There's just a lot of question marks. And I'm really curious to see what it goes, but I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful.
Very hopeful indeed. And winning does seem to help soothe over a lot of those things as well.
It does.
And I think if Micah can play even close to how he did last season in Dallas, it'll be money and draft picks well spent. And I hope the Cowboys enjoy the couple of 32nd draft picks that are going to be coming their way after we win the next couple of Super Bowls. It's going to be fantastic. It's definitely a shame that we're not going to be doing it with Kenny Clark, because that was one of the big casualties in my mind. How about you, Sky? You have some good Kenny Clark memories, especially since, you're kind of unofficially related.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first off, we were lucky enough to talk to Kenny on this very podcast. If you guys are hearing this and you've not heard that episode, Wayne, hopefully you can maybe link that in the show notes for this episode where people can go listen to that, because I think it'd be cool to go back and just hear us talking to him. I'd love to talk to him again. I don't know how to make that happen, but he's, for obvious reasons, he's been a favorite player of mine. I have a Kenny Clark jersey. I've talked to him on Twitter, and he gave me a copy of Madden one year because I had a Kenny Clark jersey with my wife, but I've always just been a fan of him, and I just wanted to give you guys some quick background info on Kenny Clark. He was drafted in 2016 in the first round. He was a 27th pick overall. His first career start was on September 25th, 2016, where he had 4 tackles in that win against Detroit. Pretty good debut game. That rookie season, he had 21 total tackles and 2 passes defended in 16 games. And then he spent 9 years with Green Bay. He played 126 of the 140 games that he was here. And his overall total stats, he had 35 sacks, 379 pressures, and 3 Pro Bowl nods. Needless to say, he's going to be very, very much missed. He is, 36 at this point, something like that. He's mid to late 30s, so he's getting up there, but he's still a hell of a player, and I'm going to miss him very much. But it's not going to stop me from wearing my Kenny Clark jersey every Sunday, man.
I do not blame you at all, Scott. And I believe the Packers drafted Kenny when he was still very young compared to a lot of other players. So it's hard to believe that he's been with Green Bay for 9 years. That's a long time. It's amazing. So, Kenny,
it is a long time.
We definitely wish you well, except, of course, on September 28th when we play against the Dallas Cowboys. But,
By the way, I was mistaken. He's only 29. So I had someone told me he was in his 30s, and I had that wrong. So
no, it's just because he's been with
self-correct
the Packers so long.
Yeah, it seems like it. So yeah, it was so cool to talk to him, and he was very gracious to say hello to one of my students, one of the students at my school. I had him say hi to Ella, and I was able to give that recording to her family, and her grandpa literally teared up when he heard it. So he made a very special moment for a girl that was in 4th grade at the time, and by now she's got to be in high school. So, but
unbelievable.
There you go.
Unbelievable. Good stuff. And now that we are back on our weekly schedule, we've got our weekly Facebook and X poll question. You can find it on Facebook in the Packers community at packerscommunity.com, as well as on X/Twitter at Packers Fan Pod. So just laying it out there, Scott, by the end of next week, which is the week ending August 12th, 2025, what will the Packers record be after these first 2 games, which are both at Lambeau Field, by the way? Are we going to be 2-0? Are we going to maybe be 1 victory and 1 tie? Or are we going to be 1 victory, 1 loss? Or maybe not an actual victory, but we'll have a loss and a tie. What do you think? I had to give as many options as I could think of.
I love that you in order to get 4 options, you had to have it with a tie in there as well, too. That cracks me up.
You know why I did that? Because after us going with our wager of fun for so many years with no ties, we had like 4 or 5 ties last year. And then in the end, we tied for the whole season. So this could be a thing.
I mean, you could have put 0-2 as a pick in there as well, too. Just saying.
There weren't that many options, Scott. Come on, let's get real.
I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to say 1-1 after week 2.
Okay, you're going to say 1-1. I do honestly believe we will be 2-0 and no looking back. So it's going to be exciting to watch 2 games in like 4.5 days or whatever it is. The votes that came in after combining Facebook and Twitter /X, 67% went with 2-0. Nobody thinks we're going to be 1 victory and 1 tie. 30% are with you, Scott, that we're going to be 1-1. But we did have 1 or 2 votes on Twitter that said we're going to lose 1 game and tie 1 game. I think that's probably a troll, but it is what it is. So
I think it's a Bears fan because there was no 0-2 option.
They're like, this is the best they're going to give me. Okay, fine. Well, as is tradition, your calls, emails, comments, and support are always the highlight of the Packers Fan Podcast, and we are looking forward to hearing what you think all season long. So remember to be part of the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community and be part of the conversations. You can find it again at packerscommunity.com.
It is time for listener feedback. Be a part of all our upcoming podcast episodes. We want your insights after watching the game against the Lions, but also your score predictions for the week 2 matchup when the Packers host the Washington Commanders. Let your voice be heard by either recording your voice, attaching it to an email, and sending it to feedback@packersfanpodcast.com, or by calling the PFP voicemail at +1 920 3PACK-GO. Since we are recording the old PFP on Monday afternoons, most weeks this season, we'll need your feedback quicker than last year. The hard deadline for your calls will be Monday at noon Central. Thanks for understanding, and go Pack Go. What do you got for us, Wayne?
We got some good stuff. Here's number 1.
Go, 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 go. Let's go, Pack, go. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. We are a week away from Green Bay Packers football and 4 days away from NFL football. Oh, it's been an off season, that's for sure. Can't go without talking about Sterling Sharpe, who was the 382nd member inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame alongside his brother, Shannon Sharpe. They are the first 2 brothers ever to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's pretty awesome. Sterling Sharpe was also a Triple Crown winner. That means in one season, he led the NFL in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. One of only 6 players to do that. I really loved his message where he talked about several times, you need to learn to follow before you can lead. It really reminded me of Jerry Kramer's speech. I loved how he referred to his brother Shannon as his hero, and how he talked about the story about when Shannon won his first Super Bowl, how he gave it to Sterling. And then on stage at his own induction, at Sterling's induction, he brought up his brother and gave up his gold jacket to his brother. That gave me goosebumps. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Mark Murphy and his induction to the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame, because he was so instrumental in so many things and really just continuing to elevate the Green Bay Packers in not just the NFL, but all sports. You know, he was responsible for getting the Titletown district going. He is responsible for the remodeling of the atrium, expanding the pro shop to, I think, something crazy like 250,000 square feet. That 50-foot tall Lombardi trophy that sits there in the Oneida Gate. The 1919 restaurant, adding 7,500 seats to the south end zone. And, of course, this last year, bringing the NFL draft to Green Bay. Oh, he did such an amazing job. And I didn't even know this, but he was also a player for several years. He was an All-Pro and a Super Bowl champion with the Washington, at that time, Commanders. And then go to other big news. Micah Parsons. Holy crap. Wow. I don't think anybody in the NFL world saw this coming, especially Green Bay fans. After, they're talking about this being on par with the Reggie White acquisition and free agency, which that wasn't even a trade. That was just a free agency acquisition. The last time the Green Bay Packers traded any first-round draft picks to anybody, and it was only one draft pick, was to get one Brett Favre. That tells you how big this trade is. That's going to free up Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness to have even a stronger pass rush than they did in the past. Usually Gary is double and triple teamed. You got Van Ness, who had an amazing camp. Oh, yeah, by the way, there's this guy called Edgerrin Cooper who's lurking in the background, who was a Rookie of the Year candidate if he hadn't been injured. Oh, yeah, and with that pass rush, that's going to really help Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams do their job better, because they're not going to be having to follow their receivers quite as long, because the quarterback's going to be getting chased all over that backfield. With that acquisition of Micah Parsons, it really shook up Vegas odds too. So this kind of brings it full circle. We are now favored to win the division. Vegas odds now has the second best chance to win the NFC Championship and the fifth best odds to win the Super Bowl. With Jeff Hafley going into his second year, it's only going to get better. And you know what? It was already a top 5 defense, 6th in scoring. There's just so many weapons. I got Jeff Hafley has to absolutely just be giddy right now, But let's get into the Lions game. I'm so excited. We're less than a week away from this. This is the third youngest team in the NFL again, and it just got younger because unfortunately we had to let go of Kenny Clark, sent him to Dallas. He was 30, Micah Parsons 26. I'm not a fan of this being a divisional game to open up the season, but, the same goes for the Lions. They still have to face us, and you know what? We're better than they are. That's for sure. And, at the end of the day, I say this often, but steel sharpens steel. Matthew Golden, I think he's going to be a bright spot in this offense, especially since he seems to be the only one that has hands as far as a wide receiver. Josh Jacobs is going to continue to do what Josh Jacobs does. And, I see this in our Wager O Fun. It's going the way of the Packers. 27, the Lions 24. Go, 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 Pack, go.
Go, Pack, go indeed. Thank you, Dan. It's always great to hear from you. I did not know about the Sharp brothers and the induction ceremony and the giving of the jacket. I did not know that story. That's amazing. Oh man, I just got a little tingle up my spine. He's hearing that just because that's just so good. Also, it's good to shout because I feel like Mark Murphy was overshadowed by Sterling Sharp, so it was really good that you gave him a shout out as well. And I also didn't know that about the recent time we traded a first round draft pick was for Brett Favre. So that's hey, things looked up after that. So if it's let's hope that keeps going on. What do you think, Wayne?
Indeed. And Vegas now has us as only the 5th best odds to win the Super Bowl. There's 4 teams ahead of us. Oh, Vegas. Oh, well. They're just trying to make some money. But yeah, this was
only you would be upset by 5th best in the league, Wayne.
I have to be. But yeah, that was a lot of stuff going on since we last had an episode of the podcast, which wasn't all that long ago. Yes, and thanks to Mark Murphy, having Titletown, which is now a definite fixture, and the atrium getting redone, the pro shop getting made over, and how about the fabulous 1919 restaurant in Lambeau Field? That is all great stuff, too. I haven't been to too many places in Wisconsin, but the 1919 did have the best cheese curds that I've ever had. So that alone, that warms the heart. It really does. Another thing that warms the heart is another voice message that was sent in to us. Take it away, David.
Hello, gents. David Hawkins from Arlington, Virginia. Welcome back to football season. Want to start with Sterling Sharp getting into the Hall of Fame. Really happy, of course, for him. I think it's probably obvious that if he had played his full career, he'd smashed so many records. So it's definitely overdue that he's in Canton. Also, just wanted to know, I grew up during the 70s and 80s, and you didn't have a lot of weapons on offense, particularly with the receiving core. So I remember, you had your James Lofton years, and then during the late 80s, you had the Sterling Sharp years leading into the 90s, and the thing about that was that it was the case that the defenses all knew that these were the guys, that Sterling Sharp was the guy, and that you had to stop him. But even though they knew that, he still was the receiver that he was, and they couldn't stop him. So all the more reason why I'm really happy that he made it into the to the Hall of Fame. I think some of our younger fans these days might not remember the times when you didn't have the kind of receiving core that we've had over the last, 20 to 30 years. But really appreciate that his talent was recognized. Moving on to what's current. I got home from work on Thursday, and my phone started blowing up, coworkers and friends saying things like congratulations, and they didn't provide any context for why I was being congratulated. And I opened Google, assuming there was something going on, and saw Micah Parsons headed towards Green Bay. That was obviously a big thing. I think he's another one of those guys, similar to Sterling Sharp. Although on the other side of the ball, you have to, if you're the other team, you have to account for him. You have to know where he is on the field at all times. And I think what that's going to do is it's going to take an already good defense, and it's going to make it hopefully unstoppable in terms of, or impenetrable, maybe I should say, just because you're going to have to key on him. You're going to have to design your plays for him. You hear that said about people like Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White. And so, obviously as a Packer fan, hoping that this is another Reggie White moment, that we've got a piece of the puzzle that's really going to make all this come together so nicely. So really happy he's here, and really also looking forward to seeing him in the Detroit backfield. My hope is that he is back there for so long they have to name him an honorary Lion for the week. So anyway, I'm predicting a 27-17 Pack victory over the Lions in week 1. So again, welcome back, guys. Thanks for doing what you do, and go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go indeed, David. Thank you so much for recording that, sending it in. And I love the point about Micah Parsons. Hopefully we'll be in the Lions backfield so much that he'll be an honorary Lion for the day, Scott.
I love it. I really love it. So, David, it was great to hear your voicemail, man. I really love the points that you made there, and especially about Sterling Sharp. He was it was a different football game back in the late 80s, early 90s for sure. He was the go-to guy. he was being double covered and he still couldn't be stopped. So, yeah, that dude definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for sure.
No doubt about it. And excellent point as well, David, about Micah Parsons' opponent's offense is going to have to keep account of him at all times. So that alone should free up our other people. So this is going to be exciting.
Agreed. Moving on to email. We got one that says, "Hey, Wayne and Scott, this is Caleb, Kathy, and Roy Fisher from Green Bay, Wisconsin. What a crazy preseason we had. We are happy with the Packers' 53-man roster, although I will miss Kenny Clark. I can't wait to see how we will do this season, hoping we will be kings of the North again. Until next time, this is CCR saying, go Pack, go, bleed green and gold till dead and cold." Thank you, Caleb, Kathy, and Roy. It's always great to hear from you guys.
And it is so hot here in Southern California. I wish we could have some of that cold to take the temps down a bit. Frozen tundra is still months away. But let's go ahead and preview what's happening at Lambeau Field this coming weekend, because your Green Bay Packers start the season at home for the first time since Matt LaFleur became our coach, which is crazy in itself to think about. We host those pesky Detroit Lions on Sunday, September 7th at 3:25 p.m. Central Time on CBS of all places. And although the Lions have been better than normal in recent years, your Green Bay Packers still lead the series in a commanding way, 106 wins, 78 losses, and 7 ties. So maybe there will be an 8th tie. Who knows? Who knows? The Packers-Lions rivalry goes way back. It all started November 2nd, 1930, the same week as the 3rd ever Academy Awards happened, for a info point right there. And a great way to start that rivalry by destroying the then Portsmouth Spartans 47-13. Scott, this calls for a go Pack go.
Go Pack go indeed.
Now, unfortunately, in the last 7 matchups, we've only had more points than the Lions when time ran out one time, and that will not do at all. Let's turn that thing around. One of the highlight games, looking back, one that never jumped out at me before, but back in 1945, no, I was not there, Scott, Don Hudson lit it up against the Lions in a way that I'd love to see Matthew Golden recreate this week. Don Hudson caught 4 touchdown passes in addition to kicking 5 extra points, all in the second quarter.
Wow.
That was a productive
quarter alone
of football right there. And, this opening day matchup this week would be a great time to beat the Lions into submission, so much so that their fans will have flashbacks of that year they went 0-16. Do you have any Lions-Packers memories that jump out at you?
I mean, it's the same one I say every year, man. At the bar, Packers are down. Oh, we got 1 play left. We're putting our coats on. We'll watch this play. Lo and behold, Rodgers throws a Hail Mary. It gets caught in the end zone, and the place explodes. I couldn't even imagine if I had left the bar. That's why you never leave, guys. You never leave until the 4 zeros are there.
Exactly. Indeed it is. This coming Sunday afternoon's weather at Lambeau Field looks to be partly cloudy, about 67 degrees Fahrenheit at kickoff. That's around 20 degrees Celsius. So it could still be a little bit warm. So stay hydrated. Keep that sunscreen handy. So, Scott, the big question, because of how things have gone in recent years with the Lions, what do the Packers have to do to start this season off 1-0 and beat the Detroit Lions?
It's always difficult to do the first game of the season because the only thing we've really seen them do is preseason. We're not seeing the starters. They're not really playing to full potential. They're just kind of getting back into the groove of things a little bit. So, coming up predictions are always tough. But here's what I've got. The first strategy is that they need to play like a seasoned team. Green Bay is still a relatively young team. Dan actually mentioned in the comments above that they're the 3rd youngest team in the NFL. And they've got a ways to go to look like they're veterans. And this is a game where they have to play like veterans, as impossible as that sounds. The Detroit offense is ridiculously stacked all over the place. So there's simply no room for rookie mistakes, penalties, drop passes, that kind of thing, especially in a week 1 game against a division rival. Strategy number 2, defenses win games. Look, I'm not saying that the Green Bay offense is bad by any stretch. Many are actually calling them a top 5 offense. After all, Just saying. But this game looks to be one where the defense is going to need to win for us. Parsons is going to want to prove that his move to the Packers was the right call. And I'm pretty certain the Packers organization has similar feelings. If he gels with the likes of Gary, McKinney, Van Ness, all the other, Edgerrin Cooper, and the rest of the defense, there's no reason they can't put a stop to the playoff contending offense of the Detroit Lions. Strategy number 3, set the tone. The Packers haven't opened the season at home in a while, and now they have home field advantage for week 1. It's an opportunity to set the tone for the remainder of the season, not just next week, but for the season. Even though it's early, this is an incredibly important game for the Packers. They should remember that this could set the tone for the remainder of the season. The winner is going to be in first place. The loser is going to spend the next week digging themselves out of a hole. Set the tone in the right direction. Let's do this thing.
I am fired up, Scott. I am fired up. We have to do it. We have to do it. And if you've peeked at the entire game schedule, it looks like next Monday night when we're recapping the Packers' victory over the Lions and previewing the Commanders game, Monday Night Football is Bears versus Vikings, which, of course, goes without saying that I'd like it to end in a 0-0 tie. But we won't even know how the NFC North is doing until about, shortly after we're done recording the podcast.
Right. Well, it's time for the 2025-2026 season wager of fun. And the question is, Wayne, what are we going to wager? I think even before we wager, we should address the elephant in the room. I have not played Pokemon Go. We have not played Madden together. So we still have to make do on both of those promises before we even can come up with an idea for this one. But it looks like a look on your face that you've got one.
Well, I also need to make it to the Midwest, bring my autographed Henderson jersey, have you wear it while you treat me to Culver's.
Yes. I mean, dude, you want to come here? That's fine. Let's go see a game together. I'll make that happen.
But as far as what to wager this year, I'm kind of drawing a blank, at least at this point. But I'm sure we will come up with something.
So listeners, you're hearing this. Give us some ideas. So when I win the wager of fun this year, what do you want Wayne's punishment to be? He's got to do something. He made me remember a few years ago, he made me sing a Frankie Valli in the Season song. Classic. With new lyrics.
Classic.
Talk like a fan, which still is my PFP Fantasy Football League team name. Just remember how embarrassed I was doing that. What can we make Wayne do at the end of this season when he inevitably loses the wager of fun? Send us in your suggestions. Can't wait to hear them.
Well said, Scott. So as we kick off this season, because it's going to be a long season, lots of games, what are your predictions for this week's game for Lions at Packers?
Well, I got to tell you, Wayne, you're not going to like when I say this, but initially when I was putting together and preparing for this podcast and reading about the Detroit Lions and just how stacked that offense is, I was, I don't think the Packers are going to win this game. I don't think that they can contend against that, even with Micah Parsons. But I tell you, after listening to Dan's voicemail, I changed my mind. I have turned around, and I'm going to say that the Green Bay Packers are going to beat the Detroit Lions by a slim margin, 21-20. How about you, sir?
Alrighty then. Alrighty. I am also going to pick a Packers victory. Still a slim margin, not as slim as yours, but we're going to win 24-20. Go Pack, go.
Nice. And our PFP listener picks for week 1 of the Packers Fan Podcast Wager of Fun. Reigning Wager of Fun champ Brett Connor. He says, football is back. Let's go. Packers 30, Lions 24. Let's start this season strong. Also, Jay Walters wrote in with a pick of 27-23 in favor of Green Bay, and David Hawkins has Green Bay winning 27-17. You also heard Dan earlier give his prediction of 27-24 in favor of Green Bay. So all picks for wins this week.
Yeah.
I was this close, though, Wayne. I was this close.
And then you're like, no, we got Micah Parsons, and yeah.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, I want to remind everybody about my other podcast, The Gaming Outsider. We got a new episode out this week. I've actually been playing the latest remake. Yes, they've remade this game twice now, of a game that came out 20 years ago called Gears of War. I actually got my original online buddies together from 20 years ago to relive those core memories. It was so much fun. You'll hear all about it on the podcast, as well as a ton of other new games that we've been playing as well. You can hear my show, The Gaming Outsider, at the same places you listen to this one, and you can find our website at thegamingoutsider.com. And if you are in the Rockford area on Saturday, October 11th, we are having our R2V2 video game convention at Cliffbreakers Resort, and we would love it if you guys came out. We drastically dropped the price of tickets this year. It's only $10 to get to the convention, $10 for the after party, which has 4 live musicians playing nothing but video games tunes, or you can actually get a ticket to the show and to the convention for $15. You can get both for $15. And we just added a new special surprise. If you're familiar, Wayne, I assume you're not a gamer, but I assume you've heard of the game Mortal Kombat.
I have heard of it. Yes, I have.
Okay. So you're familiar with the logo. It's like a dragon sideways profile in a circle. Well, the guy that made that logo is a guy by the name of Paul Niemeyer, and he lives in the Chicago area, and he has agreed to come to R2V2 to do meet and greets and sign autographs and that kind of stuff. So he's going to be at R2V2 as well. And he's got a great story to sell because he's never gotten paid for his work that he did on that logo.
Are you kidding?
Which is nuts. Never got paid.
That's amazing. And R2V2 is getting bigger and better every single year. You guys are knocking it out of the park.
It's so much fun. We've got vendors selling video games. We've got arcade cabinets for people to play at no extra cost. I've got a VR video game that takes place in an entire ballroom where you put on a VR headset and you run around and play capture the flag with people. So much fun. Video game competitions and, of course, the after party with all the bands and a cash bar and all that. It's going to be so much fun. Hit me up for details if you'd like more.
Fantastic. And kind of a gaming-related thing. We're getting a little bit closer to figuring out how to battle each other in Madden to settle that one time that I lost to you in the Wager-O Fun because my son handed me down his PlayStation 4, barely ever used it. It's in great shape. And Best Buy had Madden 2025 on sale for like $19 or something. So I have played a little bit.
Okay.
And I still stink. But I just thought I'd throw that out.
There you go. We just got to figure out how we can get it on the same console. We can play online and record it and stream it to YouTube so all of our listeners can watch me destroy you.
Yes.
As you play as the Bears.
It would happen unless I have been hiding my secret talent all these years.
Oh, wouldn't that be hilarious if Wayne was just like actually really good at Madden and just walked all over me? That'd be great.
That would be a shocking day. Indeed. Thank you so very, very, very much for continuing to support your Packers Fan Podcast. We really appreciate how it helps keep the URLs, the hosting, all of that stuff alive and well, because we just did renew the packerscommunity.com URL just a day or two ago. So check out the details on how you can become a PFP patron at packersfanpodcast.com/giveback. Go Pack Go, and thank you, Mr. Jay Walters, for your support at the Bart Star level of the Patreon thing. And Dan Dyler, a.k.a. Captain Pack Sparrow, yo ho ho, and Go Pack Go to you and yours for the Jordan Love level 10 patronage. You rock.
Go Pack Go, and thank yous to $4 Brett Favre supporters, Megan, Scott Boers, and Miguel Ramirez from the Opposites Attract podcast. But wait, there's more. Let's give some Go Pack Goes and thank yous to our Curly Lambo level Patreon supporters as well. Hank Davis from the @Free Podcast Tools YouTube channel, also Brett Connor and Joe Christensen. Again, if you are interested in joining in, check out all the details at packersfanpodcast.com/giveback. As a reminder, we are the Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast. We are not yet affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers, but we would love to be if you guys are listening. Please tell even more of your friends about Packers Fan Podcast. You are our best source of marketing, and thank you very much in advance for doing so.
And please go ahead and follow us on X or Twitter. Same thing, at Packers Fan Pod. Follow Scott there at GoCastScott. Follow the Gaming Outsider at The GoCast and follow me at Wayne Henderson. And as day one of this year's NFL season is just around the corner, here's PFP community members Megan, Dan Dyler, Joe Christensen, and Andre from LA with their Go Pack Go outro to help the Pack start off 1-0.
Go Pack, go!
Go Pack, go!
Go Pack, go!
Go, 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 Pack, go!